High value feminine ways to get the ex back digitally. Hi, my name is Unique Swanda and I am your online dating coach here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy. I'm also your style concierge, talking all things style and going out and turning up amazing to that first date, second date, third date, and maintaining that style throughout your courtship and relationship, mostly on Fridays. But today we're talking about how to get your ex back digitally. But before we go there, I just want to kind of talk about the whole theory and the whole reasons why we want our exes back. We've all had that one guy that we we just wanted in our lives. We fell in love with head over heels and would do anything to kind of keep him and keep him around. And most of the time he was unavailable. Kind of reminds you of that Mr. Big story in Sex and the City. If you haven't watched Sex and the City, go back and watch it so that you know what we're talking about. And I'm sure most of you do. So Mr. Big, he was this elusive guy who only saw Carrie when he wanted to, who only saw her. Really, the whole relationship was on his terms. He was emotionally available. Then there was the big finish at the end, and then they met in Paris and rekindled things. So we've all had that Mr. Big moment in our lives where there's this one guy that we kept going back to no matter what he did. And when we really run it through our minds, it's like the kind of behavior that we would never let our friends put up with, but we put up with them because there was this connection we thought we had with this elusive, amazing Mr. Big. So I'll tell you a story of my Mr. Big. And it's so funny because we only dated for all of a week or 2 weeks. Met online, showed up, and it was one of those, oh well, I've got nothing better to do today, I'll just show up for the date. Honestly, did not put much effort to it, but the minute I met him, I was like, oh my god, there was just something, a spiritual connection. There's something. I felt like I'd met him before. I felt like I'd seen him somewhere before, but I hadn't. And we just got on like a house on fire. Basically, the date lasted for about 12 hours, and literally just staying in one place. He invited me to a private club and he dined me, and we moved on to a club afterwards, moved on to evening drinks, moved on to the inner parts of the private club, and literally spent the whole night just laughing and just having the time of our life. I fell head over heels. I know it was just one date, but I fell head over heels with this guy, over this guy. And I remember this was on a Friday, so by the time I got back home on Saturday morning, I had a few engagements that I was going to. He made sure I got home safely, and we literally were still like, it's just high on love, basically, high on the fun of a first date. Got home. He had booked me a cab to make sure I got home safely. He booked his own cab. He went home. And I just felt like I was 16 all over again. I know, right? And with that, I had a few things I was doing. So I kind of drove to my friend's house in the evening, Saturday evening, and I rang him. I asked him, what you doing? And I ended up driving over to his, and we went out again. And like the Monday, the Tuesday, we went out for a play. We did so much in that 1.5 week. It almost felt like I'd known him all my life, and we met almost every other day. And then he ghosted me, went quiet. But for some reason, I could just never let go. I could never let go of this guy. And like, that very behavior that we talk about, and we always say, listen, when a guy does this, literally just go the other way. Let a man prove himself to you. So I guess it's one of those it was one of those relationships where I literally fell. Like, I fell hard. and he disappeared. 6 months later, reappeared, called me, apologized, called me my darling, called me all those sweet nothings, and we started dating again. Same thing happened, disappeared, ghosted me. And it just felt like a constant loop. I would send him messages, I would call him, he wouldn't pick up. All that kind of messy stuff. And until I decided, you know what, I really need to do something about this. And obviously, that is when Chengi entered the picture fully, because I was like, I can't keep going through this loop. I cannot keep doing this. Had a coaching session, and I really was intent on getting the ex back. So I'll tell you how you can do that digitally, but let's talk about this whole thing of trying to get your ex back. Before my Mr. Big moment, I was always one of those girls who were always like, if we break up for a reason. There's no point in going back. It's like there was a reason, right? And I sometimes feel like you meet Mr. Biggs because there's sometimes some lessons that we need to learn in life. For me, the lesson was I willing to give up my need for someone who's emotionally available, for someone who would wine me, dine me, open doors for me, and literally do cater for the things I desired more than the things I needed. So really, what my Mr. Big did for me, he catered for my desires. He was 6'3" or 6'4". He was lean. He was just a gentleman in every single sense of the word, but he was not emotionally available. So those are the things that I had to learn for myself, that I had to weigh the two. It was desires or needs. So this is why, again, at the Relationship Academy, we talk about your core needs. We talk about your non-negotiables. What are those things that you really, 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 really need for you to function as a happy person in your relationship? We all need someone who's emotionally available, someone who adores us, someone who's there and wants to build, and someone who includes you in their future, just like you want to include them in your future. It's a mutual thing. It's not a case of you want to look for someone who loves you more than you love them, or you want to look for someone you love more than you love them. It has to be of mutual benefit to the both of you. So even when at times when we're praying for husbands, I always say this prayer, that I always want to meet someone who is mutually at the same space with me, who I'm equally yoked with, who I can walk with, I can talk with, I can laugh with, I can cry with. It's like, it doesn't have to be my best friend, but we need to know that we meet each other's core needs. Because like we always say on here, and I think Chengi said it a few times, and Pat Allen as well, or said it a few times, that we only really ever get 51% of everything that we desire and want and need in a relationship. It's part of that equation, unfortunately. So we as high value women have to really think about our needs. What do we actually need to be able to function and in a relationship and be in that content, happy space where we can say we can do life with this person? And this is where you clarify your core needs. There's so many courses that we could literally tell you all about, that you could go to and read and use, and there's so many people out there and coaches out there who will definitely teach you how to get your ex back digitally. But here at the Relationship Academy, we're really more about you as a person, your purpose, your plans, your intuition, your mind, your body, your soul. We want to be able to develop all of you so that you get your 51%, because some of us end up settling for 49%, for 40%. It's like the best we would ever get is 51%. And that is the reason why we teach this, is because you can only get that when you really know your core needs and your core desires, your non-negotiables. So the thing with Mr. Big is that because these men are normally emotionally unavailable, and there's just something about wanting something that you can't have. It's just innately built in us, and we get into masculine mode, and we chase and we chase and we chase, and the poor guy just runs. because he can feel the desperation coming from within us. So this is where, and I think again we always say it's an energetic thing. You have to work on your own energy to make sure that you are at your optimum feminine healthy self, so that you can attract high value masculine man into your life. So with that 51%, you get to it when you now know your core needs, when you now know your non-negotiables, and you are aware of your desires. Because there are certain things where a guy could come and, like I said, my Mr. Big, he was pretty much everything I desired in a man. But I feel like for me, that was a lesson in learning what do I really actually need to thrive. Yes, if I was younger, I could have had the time to play with Mr. Big and play those games. And maybe in another lifetime, when I now know what I know now, the dynamics may have been different. But to be fair and to be honest with you, those things never really play very well for us high value feminine women, because we find ourselves in a game of chasing energetically, chasing physically. So sometimes it's best to leave the ex alone. But there are exceptions when you can have the ex back. Also talking of instances where people have accepted their exes back, it's just that you end up noticing that they have forfeited some things that they really wanted in a relationship or wanted for themselves. They end up forfeiting the emotional needs being met. We forfeit our physical needs being met. We forfeit our emotional needs being met, as well as our mental needs being met, because we have to make sure we are with someone who mutually benefits us. Again, relationships are all about negotiation. And when you find yourself in a place where you cannot negotiate for what you want in a relationship with someone who's reciprocating those very things that you want as well, that relationship always works out to your disadvantage. This is where we find ourselves being open to abusive relationships. We find ourselves being open to misogynistic relationships. We find ourselves being open to narcissistic relationships. So honestly, sometimes the best thing to do is stay away from the ex. But now let's talk about the exceptions to the rule, because sometimes there are exceptions where the ex really recognizes that he lost a good thing and he's willing to work for that good thing. So this is how you get the ex back, ladies. Let me talk from a digital point of view. So digitally, it's really about upping your game. Make him see what he's missing. Not that you want to intentionally make him the focus of your rebranding. Rebranding is all really about yourself. Work on you. And I'm sure any coach that tells that helps you get back your ex will always tell you to work on your energy. Let's stop with the desperation. Go out a little bit more. Date a few more guys. Date multiple men, if it were, so that you may have the options and you make yourself energetically unavailable, which in this case will shift the dynamics so that then he's able to chase you. There's also the level up game, really. The thing is, most times when men leave us is because we have kind of let go of that that polarity part of the relationship where we stay in our feminine and he stays in his masculine. It is best to also then practice feminine mastery. There's also courses how to reattraction masterclass. Those are the courses that you can really watch to be able to get him back into your frame, into your world, because you have connected before. There's always that chance to get the ex back. But I'd always say, let him work for you. Let him be the one that does the chasing. We don't pursue as high value women. Let him do the chasing and just sit back. Vet him accordingly, because there are certain things that you are going to need to renegotiate, because we don't want to, the thing is, you don't want to give away your power. The power is yours to have, and the power is yours to keep, and it's also yours to choose to give away. So that again is your choice. But if you want your ex to come back, make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. Make sure you know what you're okay with letting go of, because you've been with this man before and you know his tendencies, you know what he likes, you know what he doesn't like, and be prepared to walk away. And that is the one key I think you need to take away. Be prepared to walk away if this relationship does not work for your benefit, because at the end of the day, like I said, we only really get 51%, and then we make it up with friends and family and close circles to give us 100% full life and experience of relationships. But in the meantime, you take care of you. Oh, before I forget, do like, comment, write down in the comments, and let me know if you have any questions about reattracting your ex and which courses you should really take and have a look at and binge on, so that you'll be able to get the best out of what we offer here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy. And if you would love to rebrand your image on your socials, your image online, so that you might just be able to attract him back into your circle and your rotation. Remember, he doesn't get a pass right back into your life, he gets back into the rotation. Yeah. If you would like to do that, book a discovery call with me. There's also an offer that we're doing at the moment, the Talk It Through, which allows you 3 hours of coaching, and we can talk through all of these things. We can go through rebranding your hair and makeup, rebranding your dressing, rebranding the way you show up, the way you look, so that you can show up as a more feminine, high value woman, really the feminine, high value woman that you are working to be. But in the meantime, my lovelies, you take care of you, and I will catch you on another video. Mwah.